In today's video, I'm going to be showing off another one of my own created Football Manager 2024 tactics. This tactic is the FM24 broken 3-5-2. This is a tactic, if you like to play three at the back, it should be defensively sound. You'll have 5 players in the middle of the park to provide you with some creativity, and it will still be adventurous going forward with those 2 strikers. I've been putting this through its paces with various clubs, but I'm going to bring you the results of tests with Lille, Real Sociedad and Chelsea just to show you how they get on. If you want to try this tactic out for yourself, there will be a link in the description down below. If you hit that download button, the only thing I ask in return is to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the other content that will be coming for FM24. If you haven't checked out the tactics I've already released, make sure you try those ones out too. I'm going to break this tactic down. I'm going to go through each of the positions. I'm then going to go through the in possession, the in transition and the out of possession before bringing you those all important results. Now, if you play on a different version of the game to the PC version, such as a mobile, a tablet version or even the console version, you can pause this video at any point to port them out, and all I ask is if you come back and let me know how does this tactic get on in the other versions of the game. If you're ready, let's start to break this tactic down. So starting at the back, you're going to have a sweeper keeper who is set to support. Your back 3 will consist of 2 ball playing defenders, both set to defend, and a libero set to support. On the left, you'll have a wing back set to attack. On the right, you'll have a wing back set to attack. Through the middle, you'll have an RPM set to support, 2 central midfielders set to attack. At the top of the pitch, you'll have 2 advanced forwards, and both of those will be set to attack. The tactical style is my own custom FM24 352. It has a positive mentality. The in possession will look like this. The in transition will look like this. And the out of possession will look like this. So as I said, it's my own custom created tactic, and I've been putting it through its paces with a lot of teams. But let's show you how it got on as I tested it with Lille, Real Sociedad and Chelsea. To start the results off, we are headed to France, where we're looking at Lille, and we find that Lille have agonisingly missed out on Liga 1 by a single point. They would finish just 1 point behind PSG in 2nd place. Looking at the Europa Conference League, disappointingly they were knocked out in the League Path 4th qualifying round by Sport Club Rapid Vienne, and in the Coupe de France they would get through to the 11th round, but they would be knocked out there by Marseille. So let's have a little look then at Liga 1 and show you exactly what happened there. So as we can see, they would play 34 games, they would win 29, draw 3, have just 2 losses, including 1 to PSG, which would cost them the league. They had a goal difference of 74, which was actually better than PSG, and they finished on 90 points, 1 point behind PSG. But impressively, they would finish 21 points ahead of Nice, and they would finish 30 points clear of Marseille. Looking at a few player stats that you can see here then. So in terms of goals, Jonathan David would get 21 league goals, Thiago Santos would get 12 assists, and Lucas Chevalier would get 14 clean sheets. If we go into the squad just to break down how the goals and assists were dished out, so from 32 appearances, Jonathan David would get 30 goals in total with 6 assists. Adam Unas would get 17 goals and 6 assists. Ben Taleb would get 11 goals and 11 assists, and then Benjamin Andre 10 goals and 10 assists. Further on down, you would have Thiago Santos with his 12 assists. If we go into the data hub to show you some of the numbers around what happened, starting off with the defending, 0.74 conceded per game, 1.16 xG against per game, tackles attempted per game was 28.47, tackles won ratio 75.93, interceptions per game 22.06, blocks per game 3.41, clearances per game 11.38, fouls made per game 15.09. On the other side of the ball, in terms of team attacking, goals per game 2.91, non-penalty xG per 90 was 2.39, shots per game 14.35, shots on target ratio 49.59%, dribbles per game 16.32, Cross completion 14.85%, pass completion ratio 84.72, fouls against per game 11.91. There are a few other little nuggets of information there. If you want to have a look at those, feel free to pause the video. So in our first test, we find that Lille have gone agonisingly close to winning the league, just finishing 1 point behind PSG. Let's move to Spain and see how Real Sociedad get on. Moving over to Spain, and we find Real Sociedad are sat top of La Liga. They would win the league with 95 points. In the Champions League, they were put in a group with Manchester United, PSG and Galatasaray. They gave it a good go, getting 9 points from 6 games, but would be knocked out in the group stage, where they would move into the Europa League, and that would go on to be a successful competition for them, as they would win the Europa League, beating Atletico Madrid 1-0 in the final. If we show you some stats from that game, Oyarzabal getting the goal after 50 minutes, and it was a low-key affair, but Sociedad would come out on top and win the Europa League. In the Copa del Rey, they would get through to the 4th round, where they were knocked out by Real Valladolid. If we go into La Liga and show you how they became league champions, they would play 38 games, they would win 30 of them, draw 5, lose 3 times, including 1 to Barcelona, have a 68 goal difference for the best in the league, and they would finish on 95 points. That was 9 points clear of Barcelona, and they would finish 12 points clear of Real Madrid. Looking at some of the player stats, you had Umar Sadiq get 23 league goals. He had the best average rating with 7.55. Adriozola would get 16 assists, and Ramiro would get 18 clean sheets. If we go and look at the squad and see just how the goals and assists were shared around with the other players, so Sadiq would get 34 goals in total across 39 appearances with 3 assists. Oyarzabal would get 28 goals and 13 assists. Andre Silva would get 13 goals and 4 assists. Then you would have Moreno with 10 goals and 5 assists. Brais Mendes would get 10 goals and 14 assists. Kieran Tierney would chip in with 14 assists. Further on down though, look at this here. Adriozola would get 25 assists from 51 games and 6 goals. What a turnout that is for a player who plays as a right back. In terms of the data hub, to look at some of the numbers then, in the defending, 0.76 goals conceded per game. Expected goals per game was 1.03. Tackles attempted per game, 27.76. Tackles won ratio was 79%. Interceptions per game, 22. Blocks per game, 3.45. Clearances per game, 10.5. Fouls made per game, 14.37. Looking at the other side of the ball and the attacking, 2.55 goals per game, 2.39 non-penalty expected goals per 90. Shots per game was 15.87. Shots on target, 44.9. Dribbles per game, 16.2. Cross completion, 17.54. Pass completion ratio was 85.9. Fouls against, 13.16. Once again, if you want to have a look at any of the other numbers that are on the screen, feel free to pause the video. But that's 2 teams, and 2 teams that have got 90 or more points. Let's move across to England and see how Chelsea got on with this 3-5-2. In England, we would find Chelsea sat top of the Premier League. They have become Premier League champions, amassing 99 points. They would finish 8 points clear of Manchester City. In the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, they would fall victim to Arsenal. In the FA Cup, the quarter-finals. In the Carabao Cup, the 3rd round. Let's go in to the Premier League and see how Chelsea became champions. So they would play 38 games. They would win 32. They would have 3 draws, 3 losses, have a 71 goal difference, and finish on 99 points, putting them 8 points clear of Manchester City, 11 points clear of Manchester United, and 24 points clear of Liverpool. Look at some of the player stats on this page. Raheem Sterling would be the top goal scorer for the club with 24. Reece James would have the highest average rating and most assists with 17. If we look at the squad to see how the rest of the goals and assists were shared around, we would see that Sterling actually got 26 goals across the season from 44 appearances. He would have Christopher Nkunku on 15 goals and 5 assists. We'd have Reece James chipping in with 10 goals, but more importantly 19 assists from right back. Enzo Fernandez would get 10 goals and 14 assists. Further on down you'd have Ben Chilwell chipping in with 14 assists from the other side of the pitch to Reece James, and Moises Caicedo would get 4 goals and 12 assists. If we go into the data hub to break down some of Chelsea's numbers then, in terms of goals conceded, they actually were the worst of the 3 teams, conceding 1.16. Expected goals against per game was 1.27. Tackles attempted 28.9. Tackles won ratio was 74.8, interceptions per game 21.6, blocks per game 4.3, clearances per game 12.7, and fouls per game 15.89. From the other side of the ball, they would have the best goals per game ratio with 3.03. Non-penalty XG goals was 2.27. Shots per game 14.5. Shots on target 49.1. Dribbles per game 15.1. Cross completion 14.5. Pass completion 84%. And fouls against per game 13.63. So all in all, absolutely fantastic numbers coming out with this tactic. We had Lille finishing runners-up with 90 points to PSG. We'd have Sociedad going to beat Barcelona to the league title. And Chelsea now have won the Premier League by 8 clear points from Manchester City. I really do believe in this tactic. I think it is brilliantly set up to be defensively sound, creative in the middle, and adventurous going forward. If you try it out, you should be able to score a lot of goals, and you should also be able to stay tight at the back to not concede too many. Right then, if you're still with me at this point of the video, firstly a big thank you. Secondly, if you could hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, it is so important to help the channel grow. Cannot thank you all enough for the people that have done it already. If you haven't checked out the rest of the content on the channel, there are hints, tips, tutorials, let's plays, other tactic videos there for you to watch. But for this one, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for your attention and time. I'll see you on another video very soon.